I just want to preface this actually by saying that Ashley and I just watched What Have You Done to Solange last night, the Giallo from 1972, and we had a nice surprise seeing Ennio Morricone's name in the credits because he did the score for that movie, and it shows because this movie actually is one of the most intense giallos around, and if you guys like giallos, check that out. But also, it's memorable because of like the actual score itself, and it was so engrossing and enthralling. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out. We watched it on our VCR because we have it on VHS, and it was actually really good. So let's get into the video. Ennio Morricone may or may not be a name that you know, but it is a name that you should know. This guy is a film composer that has shaped how movies sound for decades, and you probably have heard his music in some way, shape, or form over the years. And you might have heard his music without even realizing it, but that's okay. And even if you are a huge fan, this video is for you. Ennio Morricone came onto my radar with the good, the bad, the ugly when I watched it when I was a kid. But when I actually started caring and like paying attention to movies and scores, I really resonated with his composition in The Hateful Eight. Quentin Tarantino actually used Ennio for the movie score, and the inspiration was from The Thing, since Kurt Russell is in both movies, and it was in a snowy environment, but it also had Western vibes, and it just worked. I really fell in love with the score. That movie is actually just really amazing all around. Ennio Morricone was born in 1928. He did various composition work early on in his career, including for radio and television, actually. He even composed music for popular musicians like Paul Anka. Morricone was actually so good at composing that he started to ghostwrite for other popular composers. They would get the credit, but he was the true writer. Ennio got his big film break with a movie called The Fascist. He began a long-running collaboration with that film's director, Luciano Fulci, because he went on to score and compose music for a bunch of his other movies. Ennio went on to do more musical compositions and worked in some musical groups, but his career took another turn and skyrocketed when he met Sergio Leone. Sergio was working on a movie called A Fistful of Dollars, which was a Western, and well, Morricone wasn't known for Westerns at the time. He was actually primarily doing work on comedies and dramas. But when Leone had collaborated with him, they crafted an iconic piece of music and sound design for this film that has actually transcended the movie and is kind of well known for this genre as a whole. If you guys want to see a full reaction of that, go check out my Patreon because I did a full movie reaction over there. Shameless plug. The music was revolutionary. It's iconic and people can recognize it to this day. The work also incorporated musical elements that worked almost like sound effects, and that was something that kind of pushed like the boundaries of this genre and this movie in general. There was a lot of like time constraints and budget restraints that actually forced him to do this, but it actually worked out well in the end, and he actually used some of the composition, the musical composition, as sound effects. That movie led to two other sequels that formed a trilogy. The movies are so recognizable, and like I said, the budgets were lacking, so it actually forced Morricone to pivot and use like gunshots and whips and other sounds for his score, and also inside of the sound effects. Like it was vice versa. They used some of the score as sound effects and some of the sound effects as the score. He also brought some of his friends onto these movies and helped launch their careers as well. Some of these pieces, like The Ecstasy of Gold, have been used on a variety of different projects since. It was so recognizable that people just got it. It was even used in a Jackass movie at the beginning of Jackass number 2. After this success, Ennio Morricone continued his work on Western films, especially and specifically spaghetti westerns, and he enjoyed great success doing that. Ennio pivoted slightly into horror at this point, specifically giallos. Working with giallo maestro Dario Argento on Bird with the Crystal Plumage and The Cat of Nine Tails and Four Flies of Grey Velvet, which we haven't actually watched yet. During this time, he also worked on The Thing from John Carpenter. This work with John Carpenter is one of my favorite work. And like I said at the beginning of this video, this spawned his work on The Hateful Eight later in his career. Speaking of Tarantino, he wanted to use Morricone on Inglourious Basterds, but there wasn't a good time frame for the schedule to work on this with Tarantino. So Tarantino actually did the next best thing, where he actually used already composed works from him in this movie that then led to Ennio doing a song on the Django soundtrack, which then led to his whole entire score being created for The Hateful Eight. Morricone continued his work on compositions for a variety of different works throughout the years. All the way up until his death in 2020, he was still making stuff. And it's safe to say that he is a revered composer. He is an icon, and he will be remembered forever for this work, especially his work on spaghetti westerns. He basically defined the genre. His sounds define what a spaghetti western is. It's so iconic that this kind of stuff will stand the test of time, and like I said earlier in the video, it transcends the genre as a whole. Making this video was actually like a cathartic experience, looking through his career and life and learning more about him. And honestly, are you guys a fan of Ennio Morricone's work at all? Are you guys a fan of spaghetti westerns? Are you a fan of giallos? Let me know. Let's talk about it, especially the giallos. Giallos are some of my favorite movies of all time. Thanks for watching. Check out the Patreon again if you guys are into spaghetti westerns, because I did do a reaction to A Fistful of Dollars over there, as well as The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. Both have a reaction over there, so go check that out. Stay safe, everyone. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Thanks for watching. Stick around for more quick deep dive videos.
They call me a god.